Hello and welcome back to Lorcana Villain. My name is Baker and today is Set Championship Showcase Week 3 Part 2. We'll be looking at all the deck lists that I didn't get to cover in the previous video. If you missed that one, it will be linked down below. Today we're going to be taking a look at winning Set Championship deck lists that have been submitted to me by the community. Those deck lists are going to be Ruby Amethyst, SteelSong, Emerald Amber, Sapphire Emerald, and EA Tempo. Just win the game. If you sent me your list since my last video went up and it's not in this video, that probably means it was from a ink type that we covered in the previous video, in which case it will be rolled over to next week. Additionally, if you sent me a picture of yourself flexing the mat for the gallery, that will be rolled over to next week as well. Today, we're just going to finish off the Week 3 deck lists. Right at the end of the episode, I'm going to show some footage, as promised, from my experience in London at the Lilo and Stitch immersive experience, me and Speci getting up to some nonsense. That'll be at the end. Before we get into the video, I do want to give one more quick plug. I mentioned in the last video that I'm going to be a guest at Comic-Con. Literally tomorrow, the 24th of May. This was confirmed very late, otherwise I'd have been advertising it sooner. But if you are in the UK and London is accessible to you and you still don't have tickets, there are still a few tickets left for the Saturday, but just a quick rundown of the event with some images to show you on screen. The Lorcana section that I'm involved in will start off at 1 PM, the creator stage, gate N4. Arrive early. They're giving out free signed card vouchers that you can exchange to get a signature from one of the artists. These will be handed out before the panel. Make sure you're seated by 12:45 to claim yours. These are first come, first serve, so if you want one, make sure you get there early enough. There's going to be a massive community pack opening. Everyone in attendance is going to get a free booster pack to open live with the crowd. Everyone's going to be recording, and it will be there'll be lots of content made, and hopefully we can make some Lorcana history. The artist signing will be after the panel, where they'll be available to sign your cards, and then the Illuminaire Elite Challenge, which is pack rush battles, taking on myself, Speci, and Professor Dan himself, the organizer, and you can win a first chapter pack. If you beat us, you get 2 free packs just for sitting down to play, and you get to keep those cards. So it's shaping up to be a really fun event. I'm looking forward to going, so I hope to see some of you there. But that's about it. A shout out to the channel sponsor, Cardmarket. If you're looking for Lorcana singles at competitive rates, then check out Cardmarket. But let's take a look at the Set Championship winning deck lists. So we're going to start off with Ruby Amethyst. And I said in the previous video that Sapphire Steel was the most popular deck choice that I had been sent from Set Championship winning deck lists. Ruby Amethyst was just behind it, but I did have some late submissions, and now Ruby Amethyst has taken first place for the most submitted winning deck lists I've had for Week 3. There are quite a few to go through. We're going to start off here. This one's sent by James Lundy, who actually submitted Week 2, and I ended up missing it, and it's been rolled over to Week 3. And this is the picture that he sent me of the deck list, a screen grab from one of my own videos. What a charming picture of myself there. But yeah, he took my the deck list that I took to the Ravensburger event in Germany, which took me to 71st place. Out of nearly 500 players. I was super happy with the deck list, and James decided to take the exact same list card for card. So this is a pretty stock Ruby Amethyst list. I'm not playing Peter Pan. We weren't playing Peter Pan Shadow or Maui Shark or anything like that. A lot more stock. We've got the 4 rabbit, only 3 foxes and 1 snake. I know it's a little sus. I talk about that in a bit more detail in the video where I discuss this list. Snakes generally, I think, can be really slow in the current meta, but they still have some value. Obviously, if you're bouncing rabbits, bouncing goats, or even bouncing the ladies, then they can be super strong, but 1 felt pretty good for me. And 3 foxes I think is fine, but it is probably the first thing I would change if I was going to make cuts and additions. I would probably go up to the 4 fox. 12 1-drops to go with 3 libraries, 4 crabs in here, of course, to take advantage of those 1-drops, and 3 copies of the Queen of Hearts, which for me was putting so much work against all of the steel decks from my run with this list. I was 3 wins, no losses, and 6 draws, and 2 of my wins were against SteelSong, and this Queen of Hearts put in an awful lot of work there. Full 4 Maui, super important card to see when you want to see it. 2 Tremaine, 1 Medusa. This could easily go the other way around. Some players cutting Medusa, and I think that is a mistake. I think like a lot of people are taking advantage of the fact that Medusa is popping up less and less frequently, so I think she gets a lot of value. 1 big Sisu and 2 Maleficent Monstrous Dragon, which against the control decks in the mirror match, or the mirror but they're on the shark version, against any of the Sapphire decks, whether it's Sapphire Steel Wheel or Sapphire Ruby, you always get to 9, and these dragons put in an awful lot of work. They're not as great against the faster decks, SteelSong, Emerald, Amethyst, those sort of things, but 2 count, it felt good for me, and clearly it did well for James. 4 Brawl, 1 copy of Finders Keepers is just some more greedy draw, good against Emerald Steel discard decks, 4 Friends, and 4 B Prep. So yeah, I was super happy with this list, so super great to see James picking it up as well and finding success winning a set championship with it, so congratulations to you. We'll start with the more stock lists, and then we'll move into the more shark evasive versions. Here we've got Giawowi L, RA all the way, love it. A lot of similarities from the last deck we looked at. No Maleficent Dragons in here. 3 Tremaine, 1 Medusa. If you're not going to run Maleficent Dragons, then Tremaines are all the more important. So I like that. 3 Queen of Hearts. Once again, we are running 2 Sisu Emboldened Warrior in this list. I wasn't in mine. It's still a super solid card. I think it's one of the best statted 3 drops in the game. For me, it was just space. There was a lot of other stuff that I wanted to be able to fit in. But running 2 here, I think you can run none and just the big Sisu still has value. But these are great 3 drops, and to open that shift line to yourself, I think 2 is a perfectly fine count. We are playing the full 4 snakes, which still sounds good. Again, I do think they can be slow, but they can be really, really good as well if you're constantly bouncing rabbits and goats, so I don't think it's wrong to play 4 by any means. 9 1-drops. Again, I always prefer maxing out Diablos, especially when you've maxed out crabs here, but it's fine. Just 2 Elsa, I also think is fine, and we're seeing 1 copy of Dragonfire in here as well, which would be not out of which would be more in place for a Maui Shark version, where obviously they want to utilize those actions, but we're seeing it here without the Maui Shark, just the value of targeted removal. Tremaine, obviously, if they do only have 1 character out, then she's vastly superior because you get a body that quests for 2 on board as well. But if they do have multiple characters and it's like a shark or a Tamatoa or something that's just really got to go, and this Dragonfire is good. It's still only 14 uninkables, so it looks good to me. Congratulations to them. Next up, we've got Larry Law, GK Champ, with, again, a mostly stock list with a bit of spice. We've got 8 1-drops, which I think is fine, and nice to see the Diablo maxed out here. We're seeing the Kuzco in that 2-drop slot, which I think is very reasonable. Queen of Hearts is obviously much better into the steel decks, but Kuzco is a fantastic consistency card. It's another card that works really well with Crab, hitting for 4. Helping to mill through your deck. It's a card that's always safe to put onto the board because you're always going to end up drawing another card with it. So I like Kuzco as a consistency card. We're seeing 3 Emboldened Warrior with Sisu in here, but no Floodborn at all. So Larry Law putting a lot of emphasis on this 3-drop, which again I do think is super, super well statted. I would like to see one of the Floodborns in here, but still seems fine. Traditional bounce stuff, 2 Tremaine, 1 Medusa, only 3 Brawl in this list. I think is fine. Brawl's main target was always Flavisham anyway. Obviously, Diablo is another very relevant one, especially when we're not running any other evade. Well, I mean, we've got Elsa, who's an evasive answer, but we're not running Pegasus or anything like that. But I think 3 is still okay, and we're seeing 2 copies of that Dragonfire in there, so a lot of emphasis going on to targeted removal, and no, Tremaine's good when she's good, but some characters just gotta go, so I can respect it. 4 Friends, 4 B Prep, and then we're seeing 3 Library and 2 Queen's Castle, which I really like. Locations I think are still very, very strong. The issue with Queen's Castle has always just been that 7 willpower. It's just slightly easier to take care of. Just a fox on board followed by a crab, or a crab already on board followed by a fox is an easy way to get rid of it. The 8 willpower on the Library, just that little trickier, but if they don't have the answer to Queen's Castle, the clock it puts on the game with the 2 law is very significant, and you could potentially draw multiple cards off of the ability. So I still very much like Queen's Castle. Looks like a really nice consistent list. Congratulations to you. Next up, we've got DM5, Teeth and Ambitions. You'll love to see it. 3 copies of the 2-cost Inkable Song. Deal 2 damage to chosen character of yours to deal 2 damage to another chosen character. A card I very much miss. It was when it entered the game in Rise of the Floodboard, it was very popular. Has fallen off, but this 2 damage can still be super significant, and we've built in a way to really synergize with it. We're seeing 4 copies of the Queen of Hearts, so not only can we trigger her off of like a Merlin Crab, but this Teeth and Ambitions is another way to get her online, and she can sing it. And we're running 4 copies of Olaf, who's a 1/3, so he can take that damage from Teeth and still survive. Olaf is also very nice to put down against opposing Cinderella, Ballroom Sensation, so this deck looking to hopefully have a good SteelSong matchup. That also supported by looking at the ladies, 1 Tremaine and 2 Medusa. Medusa obviously better into the SteelSong decks, the Amethyst Steel decks. And with the popularity of SteelSong, I don't think this is a bad shout at all to like build your deck in a way where you're trying to make that a more favourable match for yourself. So I like it. Traditional bounce package here. Seeing 2 library and that 1 Queen's Castle popping up again. So yeah, I love it. Great to see Teeth and Ambitions doing well. Congratulations to you. Starting to move away from the more rabbit stock lists. We've got Uninkable Dad's podcasts. Only need 3 off. FPS Madness Ace Comics. And what's interesting here, we don't see the rabbits, instead we're seeing genies, which are obviously a lot more aggressive, and we're seeing the Iago giant spectral parrot with that 4/6 stat line, evasive, and that vanish keyword, but no Peter Pan Shadow Finder in here. Now, genies I think are still always reasonable to include. If you're playing Blurple, I think you can get away with Iago without the Peter Pan Shadow Finder because you ramp into this. But for Ruby Amethyst, I don't know, I would love to see a copy or 2 of the Shadow Finder in here. But we're not playing Maui Sharks here either, which I think is fine, but 4 copies of Iago without the Shadow Finder seems a bit much to me. As the title says, a lot of 3-ofs here are 1-drops, 3 of those Queen of Hearts, 3 Fox, 3 Rabbit, 3 Sisu, 2 copies of the Floodborn in here though, 2 Lady Tremaine as our Lady of Choice, 3 copies of that Belle who can move damage counters, a card that works really well with these Queen of Hearts, the Sisus, and of course the Genies with that 4 Willpower, 2 Library and 2 Queen's Castle, once again showing its face, and 3 copies of Finders Keepers, which I think, like, if you're not running a Rabbit build, I think these are pretty important to help you just give you the option to attrition your opponent out of the game. So yeah, looks super nice. Again, I'm not a big fan of 4 Iago without the Peter Pan, but the rest looks good. Congratulations to you. Alright, moving now to our Shark builds. The main man himself, Maui Half Shark, 6 cost Inkable, 7/5 quest for 1. Evasive. When he challenges a character, you can return an action from your discard to your hand, and whenever you play an action, gain 1 lore. This traditionally seen with Sapphire, who have a host of fairly cheap actions. We don't have a ton of actions, but we don't need a ton. Just being able to threaten getting back a Friends on the Other Side, a Be Prepared, or a Pirate's Life is super good, and even if we're only gaining 1 or 2 lore from the wayfinding ability, then that's still pretty good lore bump. But the main attraction of playing Shark with Amethyst is you do get access to this Peter Pan Shadow Finder, who, while on board, all of your characters with evasive gain rush. So this Maui Half Shark able to come out of nowhere, well, not out of nowhere. If you've got a Peter Pan Shadow Finder on the board, then your opponent should be expecting the potential of a Half Shark, but maybe you've got 9 ink and you can play both at the same time, but just allows Maui Shark to be a bit faster in its payoff. We're not running any Iagos to complement the Peter Pan, 3 copies of that Peter Pan, but we are running Genies, but also 2 Rabbits. I really like this. I do like the Shark evasive builds. I think they can be super good, but I do feel like they lack the what Rabbit can provide. I mean, each Rabbit, even if you're not bouncing it at all, is always going to provide at least 2 cards. We do have Foxes here, so we have a way of bouncing it. So I think Rabbits are still important to include, but it makes sense to prioritize the Genie. 4 Goats, 4 Fox, 4 of those Queen of Hearts in here. No Crabs. That's kind of interesting, because Queen of Hearts is super hard to, like, get her ability online without a crab. We have no other ways of doing damage to ourselves, so really we're hoping that there is a character with 1 willpower and at least 1 strength where we can take it out and then we boost up our strength. And like the point of Queen of Hearts is always to get a 2 for 1, right? But if you are having to challenge into something that isn't getting banished with Queen of Hearts, then I think she probably just feels a bit too slow. So it is a surprise to not see Crabs here with 4 copies of Queen of Hearts. 4 Kuzgos, again, great for consistency. I like the choice of 1-drops. We're seeing 2 copies of Maui's Fishhook in here as well, which can give evasive or +3 strength to a character. And if you've got a Maui on board, then you don't even need to pay the ink that you normally would. 2 ink, so 4 hero to all 3 shark. This is a nice item to include. 2 copies of Library. Yeah, it looks really good. I'm just very shocked at the lack of Crab if you're going to run these 4 Queen of Hearts and the Kuzgos. To be fair, Maui's Fishhook is a way that we could, like, make Queen of Hearts a bit faster. We give her the +3 strength with the Fishhook, and then she takes a little bit of damage, and then she's already got that 4 strength without needing a Fishhook buff. But then if you give it to her, then she's hitting for 7. So I suppose, like, the Fishhook is probably the main synergy we're looking for here, but Crab's just so good, man. But nonetheless, a nice looking list. Congratulations to Smitty is great. Next up, we've got Millie 7125 Evasive Control. Once again, we're seeing that Maui Half Shark. 3 copies of the Peter Pan Shadow Finder. Once again, no Iago. And no genies in here either, opting instead for the 3 crab. I think that's fine though. Like, genie's really good, but I don't think you have to include it. I think just the Peter Pan Maui package is good in itself. And we're also running 3 copies of Pegasus as a 2-cost inkable 3/1 with evasive. So he's another character that can benefit from Shadow Finder, and just another character to check opposing evasives, whether it's an opposing Diablo or a Pegasus plus a crab gets rid of a Maui half shark. So I like it. Only 2 snake, I think is fine. 3 coups go in that 2-drop slot, opting for consistency. 8 1-drops, a variation of all. You know my thoughts. 2 Tremaine, 1 Medusa, 2 Finders Keepers in here, 3 Brawl, 2 Pirates Life to go with that Maui half shark 4B Prep 3 library. Looks super nice. Congratulations to you. Next up, we've got Zeke the Beast, who we've covered in the past, another half-shark evasive list. This one taking advantage of Moana, the island explorer, who's a 4/3 with evasive, and when she challenges another character, another one of your characters gets plus 3 strength. So this works really nicely with your curve, Peter Pan Shadow Finder into Moana to immediately challenge. And hey, maybe you've got a Diablo on board that you can then boost it up, and it's another way of providing a crab boost essentially. And to combo that, we're running 1 copy of Pain and 1 copy of Olaf, the 1/3s. This could just be 2 Pain, you know, like just make villainous decisions, my guy. But I like this. 4 coups go again. A lot of players opting for that consistency, and we're seeing 2 copies of Ursula, Sea Witch Queen. No shift target in the deck, but doesn't matter. Her ability is online as soon as we play her to stop any character exerting to sing songs. 1 Dragonfire, 3 Pirates Life to complement the Maui Shark, and 3 Finders Keepers, of course, another action that complements him. Yeah, it looks good. I super like the Moana. Coups goes and Pegasus, I think is really good. Just switch 1 Olaf for a Pain and we cooking, but congratulations, Zeke the Beast. Next up, we've got Nick Gaia, no ones. First place, Slims Rips Set Championship. Another shark build, but as it says in the title, no 1-drops whatsoever. For our 2-drops, we've got 4 Queen of Hearts, 2 Pegasus, and we're seeing 4 copies of Flynn Rider, who you don't see much this format, or at least since set 7 came out in Ruby Amethyst. Always a staple before then, since his introduction to the game. At the start of your turn, if you have a character in play with more strength than each opposing character, gain 3 lore. We are running 4 Sisu, which is one of the best ways to curve this. Sometimes just the Pegasus or a crab is going to be enough itself. But yeah, Steel decks laugh at Flynn Rider, but anything else, he's very, very annoying and can just win you the game single-handedly. Those 4 copies of Peter Pan Shadow Finder, 4 Genies, and we're seeing 3 copies of Iago Spectral Parrots take advantage of that Fly, of course, ability. 4 Finders Keepers, 2 Dragonfire, 3 Pirates Life, that 1 Maui's Fishhook coming up again, 3 Brawl. Looks nice. I kind of respect the no ones. I'd like to see the 4 Diablo, but that's just me. But you got to find the space somewhere, right? You are leaning a lot into this evasive package. You're running a lot of 2-drops, 4 copies of the Peter Pan. So yeah, missing 1-drop isn't the worst thing in the world for this deck, and clearly did very well for them in this event, so congratulations to you. Next up, we've got Lemon Yogurt, another Maui Half Shark evasive package, 4 copies of the Peter Pan, 4 Iago, 4 Genie. We're seeing 4 Kuzco, 2 copies of that Queen of Hearts, I like, 4 Crab, super neat, super consistent here, almost a 2-line special. 8 1-drops, looks super consistent, congratulations to you. And our final 2 Ruby Amethyst lists, the most different. First off, we've got Sam Griffiths, Eric Spurt Helmsman. We see here the 4-cost uninkable Prince Eric is a 2/2 quest for 2. When this character is banished, you may banish chosen character. So questing for 2 is really good, and just any effect that says banish anything and it's on a body, really nice. Sometimes you might see this played along with something like a Teeth and Ambitions. We do have the 4 crab here, so we can boost Prince Eric up to a 5 strength. Hopefully he takes something out, they take him out, and then he gets to banish something else. So that's a nice interaction. We're also playing 2 copies of Hydra, Deadly Serpent. I so hope this gets reprinted, man. Like, this card I think is so cool. Never really got his time to shine. 6 cost uninkable, 6/5 quest for 2. Whenever this character is dealt damage, deal that much damage to chosen opposing character. So like I said, we're not running Teeth or anything to do that self-damage. Our way of doing it is in challenges, whether because they challenged us or we challenged them. But that's a nice way that we can put this damage onto Prince Eric. Most of the rest of the deck looking pretty stock. No rabbits, instead genies, but this is a more aggro looking build. We're going for 4 Pegasus as an evasive answer, just 1 copy of Queen of Hearts, 8 1-drops, 1/1 split of ladies. We're seeing 2 Maui's Fishhook in here with the 4 Maui Hero to Wall. No sharks here. But you don't need the Maui to use this Maui's fish hooks. You can sometimes just play the 2 ink. Going to work well with the Queen of Hearts, the Prince Eric, the Elsa, or just give our guys evasive to deal with threats. And we're seeing 2 copies of Hypnotic Strength. Draw a card and chosen character gets Challenger 2 this turn. This card going really well with the likes of Diablo. It's another way to get your Queen of Hearts online. Get that 2 for 1 out of Prince Eric if 4 strength is enough. So, super spicy. This looks like a lot of fun. A lot of it's meta, but we've got some fun cards in here that certainly can serve a very strong purpose. So, congratulations to you, Sam. And our most different Ruby Amethyst list of all of them, we've got Chris Gray, D-Squared Collectibles. There's a lot going on here. This is a Damage Matters deck. So, we've got those 3 Teeth and Ambitions, which we read out earlier what they do. We're also running 2 copies of Scar Heartless Hunter, was a set championship promo, 5 cost on inkable, 4/2 quest for 3, and he's got the Teeth and Ambitions ability built into his on play, We've got the Hydra to benefit from that. We're also running 4 copies of Mulan and 4 copies of Mother Gothel, who enter with damage on them. 3 copies of Beast Wounded, who enters with damage on him. And then we're playing a few ways to move that damage. We've got 4 copies of Belle, the most meta of the moving damage cards that we've seen. 5 costs and she quests for 2, moving 3 damage. 4 copies of Panic, a relatively new card, set 7, who's the same ability as Belle, but only 2 damage. 1 cheaper, still questing for 2. So a super nice body is Panic. We're also seeing 3 copies of Belle Untrained Mystic, who, when you play her, you can move 1 damage counter, and obviously can be a Floodborn target for the Accomplished Mystic. And we're seeing 4 copies of Mother Gothel. Whenever one of your characters challenges, you may move 1 damage counter from chosen character to chosen opposing character. And last but not least, we have Juju, Madame Odie's Companion. 2 cost inkable, 1/2 quest for 1, and when you play him, you move 1 damage from chosen character to chosen opposing character. So a lot of ways to take advantage of these characters that either enter with damage or the cards that we've got that are going to put damage on ourselves. We're even running 4 copies of Madame Mim, who has the traditional bounce effect, and at the start of your turn you can move up to 2 damage from her to another chosen character, and obviously she's going to get damage either from challenges or from Scar or Teeth and Ambitions. Can't do it with any of like Belle, Panic, Juju or Gothel because they all say that you have to move damage to an opposing character. We're running 4 Elsa Snow Queen, the first confirmed epic rarity coming in set 9 Fabled. 3 cost inkable, 3/2 quest for 1, and you can exert her to exert a chosen opposing character. So that's going to help us make challenges to get damage on ourselves. We've got cards here like Hydra, who would love to challenge, Goofy, who would love to challenge. And to tie the whole package up in a bow, we're running 1 copy of Gaston Pure Paragon, who's a 9 cost uninkable, 10/6 quest for 2. He has Rush, and for each damage character you have in play, you pay 2 ink less to play this character. I revealed this Gaston, the first villain that I revealed. This looks fun. It just looks a lot of fun. I love to see you playing into the archetype and taking down a set championship with this super, gimmick-based deck. I love to hear it. Huge congratulations to you, Chris. Alright, that will have been the longest part of the video. We're going to move now into EA Tempo. Just win the game. Starting off with Dan Whiteley, Top Dog, Set 7 Champs deck. This is pretty traditional EA Tempo. We're not seeing the Diablo and the discard stuff. Just ultra aggressive, mid-range. We've got aggro characters like those 4 copies of Cursed Merfolk, which is our only discard tool. 12 1-drops, all the cantrips. 4 copies of Go-Go Tamago. When you play her, you can pay 2 extra ink to gain lore equal to the damage on a chosen opposing character. So any of those big bodies that your opponent might have out with some damage on them does represent a threat. 4 Ursula to snipe songs, 3 Kit Cloud Kicker to control the board, 2 copies of Lal Tiberius Rourke, who gives Reckless on play, and while he's on board, whenever you lose a character, your opponent loses a lore. So that can be super annoying for opponents, especially if they're trying to just out-aggro you. This can help you get in front. We've got 1 copy of Cricky, who quests for 3, and on play gives +3 strength to all your characters, so suddenly your things like Diablo, your Brooms, your Kit Cloud Kickers, your Ursula suddenly are doing quite significant damage. And then most of these Amethyst cards we've already looked at. 3 copies of White Rose for that lore gain. We've got 4 Genies and 2 Rabbits here, so a lot of draw. 1 Belle. Only 2 Elsa seems low in a green-purple deck, in my opinion, but it's fine. And 2 copies of Ursula Sea Witch Queen, who we've already discussed in this video, but in this deck we have a shift option in the 2-cost Ursula Deceiver. There's something just very soothing about a traditional EA Tempo deck. It makes me think of Ardabax, the All-Father. So, love to see it. Congratulations to Dan. Next up, we've got R2. Shout out to SLTC. Green-purple tempo set champs. Another pretty traditional looking build. In this one, we're running Pegasus as an additional 1-drop with evasive. If they don't have the evasive answer, this Pegasus can cheat out a lot of lore. We're seeing the Peter Pan Shadow Finder again, but this time 3 copies of Iago's Spectral Parrot to synergize with him. I would always want to run this Iago in a green-purple deck running Peter Pan Shadow Finder. I think this is like his main home. A 3-3 split of genies and rabbits, 2 copies of that Ursula Sea Witch Queen, super consistent looking. And I know for a fact that R2 is a very, very good player, so a huge shout out to them. And now going into our Diablo discard variant, starting off with Downtown. To be fair, not running Sudden Chill. Our only actual discard tools here are the Ursula and 4 copies of We Don't Talk About Bruno, which also doubles as spot removal. So I respect it. We have all the Diablos you could ever want, 12 shift targets, and of course 4 copies of the Devoted Herald to be a very scary draw engine if your opponent doesn't have the answer. We're also seeing 4 copies of Yzma, Exasperated Schemer, 2 cost Inkable 2 quest for 1, and when you play you can draw and discard a card. This card finding a home in Chernodalg, which obviously really benefits from there being cards in the discard, but here it's she is providing a shift target for the 3 copies of Scary Beyond All Reason Yzma, who is great to see when you play shuffle another chosen character into their player's deck and that player draws 2 cards. So similar to the 4 copies of Your Welcome that we're seeing here, but on a body. Either remove a problem or bounce one of your own characters and get yourself some card draw. Additionally, in this deck, we're seeing 3 copies of Hypnotic Deduction. Draw 3 cards, then put 2 cards from your hand on the top of your deck in any order. I think more than anything, this is to maximize the odds of a turn 2 Diablo shift. Probably not digging for an action, because Hypnotic Deduction is an action, but if you're digging for the Devoted Herald, you played a 1-drop Diablo on 1, then I can see this putting in a lot of work, because you really want this Diablo engine online as soon as you can. So yeah, it looks pretty nice. Congratulations to you. Next up, we've got William Foster, who is leaning a little more into that discard engine. We've got the full bird engine, of course. We're running 3 copies of Prince John, greediest of them all, to draw cards whenever your opponent discards. Running 4 copies of Sudden Chill, 4 Hypnotize, 1 copy of that Lucifer Cunning Cat. And the 4 We Don't Talk About Bruno and Ursula, of course. So lots of discard tools here. We're running 3 Genies, 4 Elsa, 2 copies of Improvise, which for a start is another way to dig to get that early Diablo shift, but can also, of course, target opposing annoying illusions. Most notably, the Iago Giant Spectral Parrot, who would have a field day against this deck. So nice inclusion, and 2 copies of Hidden Cove to mess with your opponent's maths, make it so Diablo does not fall to things like Storm, Cannons, Brawl, those sort of things. So yeah, pretty standard. I don't like it, but I like it, so congratulations to you, William. And our final EA Tempo deck, a little blurry. Do please try and send me HD pictures if you can. But we've got Snipe Cross GG, a lot of similarities to the deck that we just looked at. We're seeing the Iago in here. 3 Merfolk, 4 copies of Improvise. I respect a lot. Just respecting the opposing Iago, and again, maximizing our ways to dig to get this turn 2 Diablo shift off. So it looks good. Congratulations to you. Moving now into SteelSong, we've got 5 decks. They're all classical Whole New World variants. So starting off with POL in Habibi, We Trust. You love to see it. A wide song package, of course, the 4 Whole New World. 4 copies of Zeus, 4 Strength, 4 Storm for that removal. 1 copy of World's Greatest Criminal Mind. For those pesky Maui half sharks more than anything, I would imagine. 1 copy of Grab Your Swords in here as well, becoming more and more popular. We've got singers such as 4 copies of Ariel. We're not seeing any Gaston, but we are running 2 copies of Prince Naveen, who lets you play any of our songs for free just for playing him. And he's a singer 6. That quest for 2, so that's pretty good. We've got Pete to shut down those actions. Lawrence with some great big stats and one of our better Rapunzel traps, courtesy of that 4 willpower. We're seeing the Robin Hood shift line in here as probably our predominant way of singing our songs quickly. Force Me for stats, of course, for Cinderella to sing those songs, and we're also seeing 1 copy of the Cinderella Stout-Hearted, so we are threatening a shift onto our 1-drop, and we're seeing 2 copies of Ariel Sonic Warrior, pretty much becoming staple at this point in SteelSong. She's in far more of the SteelSong decks that we've looked at than not. I think case in point, I mentioned earlier, like less people are playing Medusa, and some people are taking advantage of that. SteelSong players more than anything, because if you haven't got Medusa, this aerial could be super tough to deal with. 8 willpower, questing for 2, and whenever you play a song, you can pay 2 ink to do 3 damage to another character. Super strong card. We're seeing 2 copies of Sven, who readies a chosen character on play, so you can have them quest with something, ready them, and then have them sing. You can have them sing 2 songs, and there's nice interactions with things like opposing Diablos to ready them up so they're not drawing when you then play your Whole New World or Storm, etc., or the opposing Pete's, the Emerald Steel Pete, who locks you down from exerting to sing songs. So Sven, a lot of utility at the moment. The biggest surprise to me is 4 copies of Troubadour without Miss Bianca. If you're running Miss Bianca, Troubadour is the clear winner. I like Ursula Vanessa just because of that 4 willpower to maximise your Rapunzel traps, but Troubadour's still a super solid card, has that Singer 4. Really consistent looking list. I really like the inclusion of Sven, and yeah, the aerial Sonic Warriors are pretty scary. Reason, if nothing else, to get Medusas back in your deck, Ruby players. But looks good. Congratulations to you. Next up, we've got Sasha with SteelSong. SteelSong and the Beast. There you go. Pretty traditional songs. That 1 Grab Your Swords coming up again, and 2 copies of Criminal Mind. We've got the 1 Sonic Warrior and 2 copies of the Stout-Hearted this time round. And as the title alludes, we've got 2 copies of that Tragic Hero Beast. Another card taking advantage of the lack of Medusa in format, because this is one incredible draw engine. We're seeing the Prince Naveen's. Only 1 Lawrence, I think, is low, to be honest, especially because once again we're seeing the 4 Troubadours without Miss Bianca, and if you're going to do that because you just like this Troubadour stat line more than Ursula Vanessa with the resist 1, I can respect that, but we really want to maximize our potential Rapunzel traps, in my opinion, and Lawrence is like, that's one of the best things about Lawrence other than just a great stat line in general. So that's a bit of a surprise. We're seeing 2 copies of Lilo Escape Artist, who I really like, again especially against the red decks, providing that persistent threat. So yeah, overall looks super good. The Lawrence count is a little low for me, but I respect including like getting away with running the Beast Tragic Heroes while you can. If there's going to be less Medusa, I think it's a super good shout. Congratulations to you. Next up, we've got Dad Kana. Shout out to you, long-term supporter of the channel. Stealing and Wheeling. Traditional songs, but only 3 Let the Storm Rage On. I think there was a time where this was arguably fine, but Sherna Dog is here, man. It's here in a big way. I don't know. Let me know in the comments, experienced SteelSong players, what you think about 3 Storm at the moment. But yeah, once again, those that 1 Grab Your Swords, and we're seeing 1 copy of I Find My Platinum to hopefully have a better matchup into the Ruby Sapphire list, specifically the wide item variants that are running workshops, things like that. 1 Stout-Hearted, 2 Aerial. We're seeing 3 Troubadour and 1 Ursula Vanessa. I quite like the split. I respect it. 3 Prince Naveen. That's more than we've seen in a while. I know the legendary DeCandio, who is now on the Ravensburger dev team, was a big fan of this card. 4 Lawrence, you'll love to see it. Everything else pretty traditional. Congratulations to you. Next up, we've got John, Queen Aggro Wheel. So this is fairly classical because we're running the 4 copies of Whole New World. We've got only 2 copies of Ariel, which... I mean, I know SteelSong players like have a love-hate relationship with Ariel because she's renowned for missing. But still, 2 copies? Hey, what do I know? But I love the shift line option we've gone with by running the Queen. This enables the potential for a turn 2 shift. It also gets more characters into the range of World's Greatest Criminal Mind. For that reason, I'd like to see at least 2 copies of World's Greatest here. We've got 2 Naveen, and then a lot of the usual suspects. Those 2 Sven coming up. We're running 3 copies of Daisy Duck and 4 copies of the 2-cost Penny, who are both very aggro characters, and even 2 Chen Po with that 4/7 body on a bodyguard. So yeah, still giving us the option to spin the wheel, but a slightly more aggro version. I like it. Congratulations to you, John. And our final SteelSong list, we've got G-Girl X General Games, who is running some spice. We've got 2 copies of Kristoff. 9 cost uninkable, 3/7 quest for 3. For each song in your discard, you pay 1 less ink to play this character, and he has a bodyguard. We've got a wide song package, only 3 copies of A Whole New World I'm not a huge fan of, but 2 Grab Swords, 3 Zeus, 4 Strength, 4 Storm, 2 World's Greatest Criminal Mind, 2 Bare Necessities to snipe those non-character songs, 2 I'm Still Here to draw a card and give resist 2, and 2 copies of When Will My Life Begin, 3 cost inkable song. Chosen character can't challenge during their next turn, draw a card. A pretty nice song. Again, slows the opponent down. Maybe one of our aggro characters gets away with an extra quest because of this, or is safe after singing a song. It's drawing us extra cards. It's more hits with Ariel, and again, this wider song package fueling this Kristoff, who is a big boy. And we're seeing 2 copies of Shernadog, who you pay 1 less ink to play him for every character in your discard, and then they get shuffled back into your deck. And again, when we're playing Whole New World, good odds that we're getting through these characters quickly. So, I like it. 2 copies of the Sonic Warrior. We're running both the Robin Hood shift line and the Queen shift line, but only 3 copies of the Floodborn Queen. I'd like to see this maximized. Only 3p, I think I'm not a fan of either. I think sometimes, you know, like, as a Ruby Amethyst player, this is how you are not losing to me. So I'd like to see this maxed out, but to make room for the Kristoff and the Boggs and the extra songs, you've had to find the room from somewhere. I respect it, but I still think I'm probably going like -1 grab swords, +1p at the very least. And again, I'd like the 4th Queen, but you take out too many of the songs and you're going against kind of what the deck is really trying to do. So I'd rather just let it lie. It won you a set championship. I love to see it. Congratulations to you. Moving on now to Emerald Amber. We got some Shernadogs, and we're starting off with Abaddon SFX. Met this player in Germany, in Ravensburger. Shout out to you. Got me to sign an enchanted Jafar, which made me a bit nervous, but was an honor to do. And shout out to you for winning your set championship. So yeah, let's take a look at these tools. We are super aggro. One of the main characters being this 7-cost inkable Tramp, 2/6 quest for 2. You play 1 less ink to play him for every character that you have on board, and when you play him, you draw a card for each other character you have in play, then choose and discard that many cards. So this allows for you to play him on turn 4. If you curve out with characters on turns 1, 2, and 3, then you can play this on 4. You're drawing 3 cards and you're discarding 3 cards. Fueling the discard is what's going to allow us to get our Chernabog online. We're also running 2 copies of the Dual Link Lady, who on play you return up to 2 characters from your discard to your hand of cost 2 or less. So another card that's going to benefit from you fueling the discard. We've got 3 Yzma in here, who we looked at earlier, who allows you to draw and discard. So we are throwing cards away, but it's all an investment. We've got 4 Rapunzel, 4 card draw in addition to the Tramp, and then just a bunch of aggro. We've got Daisy Ducks, Merfolks, Lilo, Escape Artist, Piglet, Go-Go Tamago for a nice lore bump if there is a character with a lot of damage, Ursula to snipe songs, 3 copies of Donald Duck to be a bodyguard and to give an extra lore pip, 3 copies of Kit who can have a little bit of ball control. I really like the 2 Prince Philip, who's a 3/2 quest for 2 with Ward, so it can be super tricky to remove. We're running Little Johns and Nalas, who are both 1-cost 0/4s. 4 willpower is good to get your Rapunzel online. Not to mention we're running things like Cricky, who give +3 strength, so allow these characters to trade up. And we're running 4 copies of the 2-cost Tramp, who, if you have a lady in play, you pay 1 ink less to play him. And when you play him, chosen character of yours gets +1 strength this turn for each other character you have in play. So if you've got a wide board, throw down this Tramp, suddenly your Nala or your Little John could be hitting for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Could be a lot more. It depends how patient you are and how long you wait to turn all you guys sideways. The 1-cost lady, of course, getting an extra lore if you have a Tramp in play, and is a shift option for our 5-cost lady. This deck is taking over the Lorcana community. It's our new toy. It seems a lot of fun. It's super powerful. Was able to win the event in Ravensburger last month with nearly 500 players, winning an insane game against SteelSong. So this deck looks a lot of fun. Again, it's our shiny new toy. Great to see it doing well. Congratulations to you. Next up, we've got Eweezy Atomic Empire, a 2-line special. We've cut some of the fat, like Piglets and Merfolks and Lilo's Prince Philips. Maxing out our count of most things, the additions here are 2 copies of the Floodborn Pegasus, who can shift onto the 1-drop Pegasus, who we're also playing. And that is basically it. 3 copies of Chernabog. So yeah, just the Pegasus being the new toy here, and then maxing out on a lot of the key cards that we want to prioritize. Looks good. Congratulations to you. Next up, we've got Kills In with a nearly identical looking deck list. There are a couple of changes. There's 1 more Cricky here and 1 less Piglet. 1 less lady here as well, but by and large the same sort of thing, so congratulations to you. And our last 2 Emerald Amber decks are actually not Chernadog versions. We've got Big Thunder. They took my Fortisphere. I'll take their everything. My man is on a quest. He has his purpose. But yeah, this is Emerald Amber Under the Sea. 4 copies of Under the Sea. Sing together 8. Puts all opposing characters with 2 strength or less at the bottom of their owner's deck in any order. Lots of characters already have that 2 strength. But we're running 4 copies of Painting the Roses Red, which lets you draw a card and -1 to 2 opposing characters. And 4 copies of Kida, who on play, you lower the strength of all characters by 3. So that's how we're going to get more characters into this Under the Sea range. We're also running 3 copies of Muses, who can bounce back characters of 2 strength or less. So another character that can benefit from these roses and these Kidas. We've got the Diablo engine in here, and then a lot of discard. The 4 Prince John, 3 copies of You Have Forgotten Me. I hate this card. Opponent discards 2 cards. We've got 4 Sudden Chill, 3 Bare Necessities. Of course, the Ursulas can discard. 2 copies of Daisy Duck as well. 4 cost inkable 2/3 quest for 1, who on play, your opponent chooses and discards a card. 2 Crickies to give us nice challenging turns with our things like Ursula, 1-drop Diablo, even the Daisy Duck after she served a purpose. 4 Sir Hiss in here as well as an evasive. Like, this is a good singer of our 2-cost songs because he is evasive and is an answer to opposing evasive. 2 Criminal Mind, 4 Bruno for removal, and 2 copies of that Hidden Cove to mess with the opponent's maths. So yeah, a deck that's been doing well for a while. A bit of a fringe deck, but we always see it pop up here and there. Great to see it doing well and represented at set championships. Congratulations to you. And our final Emerald Amber list. Now this person, when they submitted this list, they said straight up, I didn't win. I made the finals and I had to surrender to my opponent because I was late to go and do something else. But they submitted it anyway, just to say, hey, I thought you might like to take a look. So thank you for your honesty. And I am absolutely going to show this deck list because, bad gold, you've got one of my favourite cards in the entire game here. Peddler's Law Aggro. We've got the Queen Disguised Peddler. 3 cost uninkable, 2/3. Quest for nothing. And a perfect disguise. Exert, choose and discard a character card. Gain law equal to the discarded character's law. So, she's slow. You need to have a character in your hand with enough law that this is a payoff. She's then vulnerable after you've exerted her. So this is far from consistent, but I think it's one of the funnest ways you can win a game of Lorcana. We've got some big questers here. We've got Mirabelle Madrigal. Whenever one of your characters sings a song, this character can't be challenged until the start of your next turn. We're not running any songs, so we never expect to get that ability off. But hey, she can just quest for 4 in and of herself, but she's also a perfect discard target for the Peddler. And 4 copies of Mirabelle Madrigal. You can't play this character unless you have 5 or more characters into play. That is not completely off the table. I don't think it's going to happen a lot, but it could. We're aggro. We've got a lot of low-costed characters here, so maybe you do manage to play her. But even if you don't, again, a perfect discard target for the Queen. For draw, we've got 4 Rapunzel and 2 copies of Donald Duck Perfect Gentleman. At the start of your turn, each player may draw a card. This is kind of similar to something like an Amethyst Chromicon, where we're just saying, yeah, you're drawing cards too. You're probably going to have more cards than me overall, but I'm just going to out-aggro you. I'm going to have more tempo. I'm just going to win the race. So I like it. 4 copies of Miracle Candle, our only non-character card. 2 cost inkable. Banish this item if you have 3 or more characters in play. Gain 2 law and remove up to 2 damage from chosen location. No location, so we're just after the law. Good odds that we're going to have at least 3 characters, so sure. And we're running Prince Naveen, 5 cost inkable, 2/6 quest for 2, shift 3 is relevant because we are running the 2 cost Prince Naveen, who's a 2/3, and he's a bodyguard. So it makes sense, protect our aggro characters, but most importantly, protect the Queen. Protect this Peddler at all costs. In that vein, we're also running 4 Donald Duck and 3 Baloo to be additional bodyguards. Running 3 copies of Alma Madrigal, 3 cost uninkable, 1/3 quest for 2, and when you play her, you may search your deck for a Madrigal character and reveal that card to all players, shuffle your deck, and put that card on top of it. So this is going to help us find the Isabella and the Mirabelle when we need them to discard them for the Queen. And then most everything else, super aggro. We've got Daisies, Merfolks, Lilo's Piglets, Enchantress here, who quests for 2, and when she's challenged, she gets +2 strength, so good odds to make a trade. 4 Lilo, I think I mentioned. 2 copies of Fred as well, when he's challenged, gain 2 law. So if your opponent doesn't have a way to remove Fred without challenging him, then this represents 3 law. That's pretty good. And we're running 2 copies of Pluto Friendly Pooch. Exert, you pay 1 ink less for the next character you play this turn. So allowing for a turn 2 drop of the Queen Peddler, and then assumedly on turn 3, we exert her, and then we want to play one of our bodyguards. Yeah, I love it. Any deck where you're gonna cook with the Queen Disguised Peddler, I'm gonna be a fan. Love to see it. Graham Knackers, shout out to you. And our final list that we're going to look at, we've got 3 Emerald Sapphire lists, all slightly different. So focusing straight away on cards we've not talked about today, we've got 3 copies of Mama Odie, 3 cost uninkable, 1/3 quest for 1. Whenever you play a song, you can put the top card of your deck into your inkwell face down and exerted. We're running a few songs. Under the Sea, All Is Found is another way to ramp, How Far I'll Go, You're Welcome, Mother Knows Best, and Heft for Lumps and Woozles. We're even running 1 copy of Do It Again, so we can recycle an action. And we're running 3 copies of that new Ink Geyser. 3 cost uninkable. Each player exerts all cards in their inkwell. Then each player with more than 3 cards in their inkwell returns cards at random from their inkwell to their hand until they have 3 cards in their inkwell. So denying our opponent the majority of the ink that they've been putting into their inkwell the last few turns is the name of the game, and then have the tools so that we can jump ahead in resources. We've got things like, again, All Is Found, How Far I'll Go. We've got Great Stone Dragon here. We've got the Sails and T-Pose. So slow them down and then jump ahead in the race is essentially what we're looking to do here. We're even running 1 copy of the Big Bad Mufasa. When you play him, then you can return 2 random cards from your inkwell to your hand, and whenever he quests, you can ready all cards in your inkwell. So that can be pretty spicy. We have a Clarabelle engine here to be our primary way to draw. And we're running 2 copies of Peter Pan Neverland Prankster. He enters play exerted, and while he's exerted, each opposing player can't gain lore unless one of their characters has challenged this turn. So that's anything. That's Sleepy's Flute, that's any of the locations, that's questing, that's Lucky Dime. Unless they make a challenge, then they cannot gain lore that turn. Pretty cool. 2 Gaston, big powerhouse and help you find key cards. Grandma Tala to help you dig. 4 copies of Muses, of course, to pair up with all these songs, and we're even running 2 copies of Pete, who has Ward, quest for 2. Whenever you play an action, he gets +2 strength, and if at any point he has 7 strength or more, he gets +2 lore. So if we can play 2 actions, get him up to 7 strength, then he is questing for 4. And again, we've got Do It Again, Ink Geyser, Heifer. We've got a lot of cheap actions here, and a lot of them songs that our characters can sing. 2 McDuck Manor in here as well, and even 4 Sapphire Coil to lower the strength of opposing characters, give us more favourable challenges, or get characters into the range of the Muses. Cyrex Sins calls this Emerald Sapphire Prison Control, and I can see why I would cry up against this list, but glad to see it doing well. Congratulations to you. Next up, we've got Phoenix 1988, Income Set Champs, Cheltenham, Shift happens. So let's get Geyser Cal. Or Geysercal, not sure. Nonetheless, a lot of the cards we just talked about, we've got the Under the Sea, the Ink Geyser engine here. But leading a bit more into Floodborns, we're running 4 copies of Hero Hamada. When you play a Floodborn character on this card, you can draw a card. And of course, the Floodborn Hero Hamada, the set championship promo for Arcasia's Island. 7 cost inkable, 4/6 quest for 3, shift 5. And your Floodborn characters that have a card under them, so you have to have shifted them, gain Evasive and Ward. That is absolutely bonkers. So you shift this hero, Evasive Ward. Clarabelle as long as you've shifted it. Diablo as long as you've shifted it, Evasive Ward. And we're even running 4 copies of Baymax. 6 cost uninkable, 5/5 quest for 2, shift 4, universal shift 4. You can play him on top of anything. So another way to get the 3 cost hero online, or again just take advantage of this Floodborn hero's ability. And when you play him, if you did use shift, then remove all damage from the character you shifted onto. We've got 3 Let It Go for removal, 2 Fishbone Quill to help us. Again, we're hoping to Ink Geyser and then jump ahead in ink. 3 Morph to be a shift option for any of these Floodborns. This looks like a much more consistent version, so it looks really, really good. Congratulations to you. And our final list of the day, there was 1 Emerald Steel. I'm going to roll it over to the next video because I'd rather pair it with others, and we've already overrun. So we're going to finish off on Pedro with Turbo Oswald. Oswald being a 2 cost uninkable, 2/1 quest for 2. Whenever a card is put into your inkwell, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an item, you play that card for free and play exerted. We're running a lot of items. The high roll being the Lucky Dime for lore bumps. We're running 4 Maurice's Workshop, so whenever we play another item, we can pay 1 to draw a card. 4 Fishbone Quill to ramp. 4 Sapphire Call to lower the strength of opposing characters, which is going to be relevant for we're not running any Muses, but 4 copies of Under the Sea. We've got 2 Signed Contract, come up a couple of times now. Whenever an opponent plays a song, you may draw a card, sure. 4 copies of Hidden Ink Caster, my least favourite card in the game. 2 cost uninkable, you can draw a card, and all of your cards count as having the Inkable Flourish. And we're even seeing 2 copies of Galactic Communicator, 2 cost uninkable, and then you can pay 1 ink, banish the item, return chosen character with 2 strength or less to their player's hand. And of course, with the Sapphire Coil, this could be a lot more of opposing characters, or maybe we're bouncing our own card. Probably not, unless it's the Ursula or the Kick Cloud Kicker. That makes sense. But yeah, loads of items to hopefully get a high roll off of Oswald. But the one I left till last, you had to know. 4 copies of the 3 cost uninkable Ratigan's Marvelous Trap. Banish this item, each opponent loses 2 lore. Super spicy, so lots of hits for Oswald. We're playing Scrooge McDuck so that we can hopefully find these these items. We're running 3 copies of Tamatoa so that we can recur these items, 3 copies of the So Shiny Tamatoa so that we're getting more lore courtesy of these items, 4 bells to work with these items, and 2 hideaway to get rid of opposing locations or items and put them in their player's inkwell. I would love to watch this deck have a few matches. I'm not gonna lie. If your tournament was streamed, I'd be absolutely seated to see how this would pop off. But super fun, super interesting to talk about. Congratulations to you. And that is it for week 3 of the Set Championship Showcase. If you have sent me your list and I haven't shown it yet, please, if you emailed me, forward me that original email. If you posted it on Twitter, go back to that original post and make a comment and tag me in it so I can see. It will just be a mistake and I will roll them over to next week. But I don't want to waffle anymore. This video's super overrun. But I did promise you some footage from my time in London, me and Speci getting up to activities. So I'm going to let that play, and then as soon as it's finished, we'll roll straight into the outro. But thank you to everyone that sent me their lists. We've got 1 weekend left. Please continue to send me your winning lists. But now let's see what nonsense me and Speci got up to in London. Hello.
Welcome, explorers!
Thank you.
So, Stitch has landed here in London!
Yay!
But he's missing his family!
Oh.
So he wants you to make a postcard to send back to his family. Do you think you can do that?
100%.
Yes!
100%.
Okay, so I'm going to set 30 seconds on the clock.
Right.
And you're going to do it with a theme. The theme is Surf and Stick!
Surf and Stick!
Yay!
Okay, and these are the decorations, are they?
These are the pieces that you're going to put together to make a wonderful postcard.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Alright.
1, go! Yay! A surf and stick! Surf and stick! Yay!
You've got a bit of stuff over it.
Surf and stick! 5, 4, 3, 2, 1! Amazing! Well done, guys!
I thought it was awful.
I'm trying to disrupt. I think we nailed it.
Amazing! So you're gonna...
Oh, is it gonna fit?
I'm messing with you one leg.
It's alright, I'm skinny. It's fine.
It wouldn't fit me.
Would that do?
I think it does.
Right, brilliant.
3, 2, 1, aloha! Crouch down a bit so you get the logo in.
You get the logo. They want the logo in. There we go.
3, 2, 1, aloha! Yay!
Oh, wow. He's watching us. Make him laugh.
Nobody wants to see that.
Oh, he's laughing at you, look. He thinks you look stupid. See you, Stitch. Of course. 100%. Right, okay. Is he now?
You're so tall! Okay, I'm jealous. Good, she's don't scratch Stitch!
Hey! Love it. Super cool. We're dressing him up.
Do you want the surfboard or a bodyboard?
Your choice.
I think
Dress ourselves up. Alright, okay. It's not Uma Father, isn't it? That's what they call it. That's what Forever Friends calls it. Oh, there we go.
They suit you.
I thought they would. Wait, so again.
Yes.
There we go. That's the thumbnail right there. I can tell.
Did you grab more glasses?
You want more glasses?
Ice cream for some glasses.
We could. Is he blocking me with the board?
I know. It's really